Here it is, February already. Can you believe it? There are a few times during the year, a few things that will trigger me to want to declutter, to throw things out, to donate a bunch of stuff, and just overall organize my house. One of those triggers is simply spending a lot of time in my house, which this time of year, that's how I spend the bulk of my time, snuggled in, trying to avoid the cold. When I'm spending a lot of time at home, I begin to notice the trouble areas, the areas of my home that feel a little cluttered, a little messy, and a little stressful, and I have to do something about it. If this is true for you too, or maybe you're watching this video at a whole other time of year, but you're still feeling that need to declutter, to sort of simplify your space, then I hope you will enjoy today's video where I'm going to share with you 5 simple tips to begin the whole decluttering process or to start it back up again if you sort of stalled out. And spoiler alert, there may be a few extra tips thrown in, so be sure to stay all the way to the end. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. If this is your first time visiting, let me introduce myself. My name is Tracy Martirana from Holistic Wellness with Tracy, and I post a video every week, sometimes two, on things like healthy recipes, herbal remedies, yoga, meditation, Ayurveda, essentially everything you need to live a healthy, happy, and balanced life. So today we're talking decluttering. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I have spent years, probably, slowly working through my house, decluttering a bunch of stuff. And is it perfect? No, far from it. I am not a minimalist, but I do really enjoy my space when it's clutter-free and I can simply relax without looking at to-do lists sitting everywhere. If you walk into my house, even on a bad day, the one thing I think you would notice is that even though maybe the floors aren't mopped and there's a few things sitting around, it still doesn't feel overly messy. And the reason for that is because I've gotten rid of a lot of just the clutter that a lot of people have in their homes. Let's start with tip number 1. For me, this is to always take advantage of garbage day. Now, whether you just have to fill a bin and haul it to the curb, or whether you're packing up bags to take out to a dumpster or drive to the dump, when you're rounding up garbage in your house, don't just look at your garbage bins. Look for all the places in your house where there are always things that can be thrown away. In my house, the common hot spots for actual garbage, I mean trash, is always the refrigerator, because there's always things that are expiring or things that you ate half of and you know you're not going to finish. Same goes for the pantry. I don't know how many times, well, almost every week I can tell you, I open the pantry and there's something that maybe we've opened, eaten some, the rest, it's stale crackers or chips or something that is just past its prime and needs to be thrown out. Toiletries are another place. If you were looking around in your bathroom at your toiletries, you probably have a handful of things that you bought thinking, oh, this would be great. You used it a couple times, but it never really stuck, never became part of your skincare routine or your makeup routine or any other routine. And it's just sitting there. So, don't let it just sit there taking up space. Get rid of it. 2 other places where I tend to find stuff just building up is sort of my spice / tea area. I have a cabinet in my kitchen where I keep all my spices, I keep all my teas, but I find either I blend up teas that I drink a few times and now they've been sitting in there for a while, or people gift me teas, or I buy a special herb blend for something and then realize I don't really like it or I'm just not going to think to use it. I get rid of those. And then lastly is the junk drawer, where people just tend to throw things when they don't really know what to do with it. Is this garbage? Is it not? I don't dare throw it away in case we need it. Put it in the junk drawer and it's still there after a few days. It's probably really garbage. So wander around your house, grab all the garbage, fill up your bin, get that stuff out of your house. Tip number 2 is having donation boxes all the time. So I have a box that I keep out on our enclosed front porch. It's a cardboard box, so I can just throw things in it. So if I'm in my kitchen and, I pull out, I don't know, actually the other day I put a ladle in there because I had a ladle and I'm like, you know what? I don't even like this ladle. I never use it. Why is it in my drawer? I put it in the donation box. It's sitting right there. I can just keep throwing stuff in it whenever I come across anything that I just not in bad enough shape to throw it away, but I don't need it in my house. I put it in the donation bin. And then when it gets full, I just take it, or my husband takes it, drops it off. It's donated. It's out of our house. In addition to that one main household bin or box, I also recommend having at least one, maybe per person or per bedroom, for clothes. Now, if you have multiple kids, have one in all of their closets so that when they put something on and it doesn't fit, they don't just throw it in the laundry bin. Have them put it in the box. You can go through it later and decide if it fits other kids or if it's time to donate it, whatever. But at least for one, it keeps it out of your laundry, because if you've ever had a kid, you probably know that you wash things, then you're like, I don't even think they ever even wore this. And that's why, because they're just throwing it in there instead of putting it back in the closet. And for me as an adult, I'm likely to try something on, say, oh, I don't like how this fits, and just hang it back up. Where if I have a bin right there, I can say, you know what, it doesn't fit me. Put it in the donate bin. It's out of your way. And then when you're ready, you can just grab that box, drop it off. Now, tip number 3 is not necessarily the easiest tip, but it's an important one. And it will be different for everybody, and it really takes some thought. And this is to evaluate your duplicates. Now, I like getting rid of duplicates because to me that's an easy thing to declutter. If you have 2 of something, it's safe to get rid of one because you still have something of whatever that is. It's not like giving away the one thing that you have and then tomorrow you're like, oh, I needed that. You still have one. However, there are many things, if you start looking through your house, that you have duplicates of. And some of those things, it makes sense. And for some of those things, it doesn't. Or maybe it makes sense to have a couple, but you have 5. So, and things that instantly come to mind when I think things that I definitely want duplicates of: washcloths, whether it's for my body, the dishcloths, cleaning cloths, any of those things. Yeah, I want duplicates of those. I want duplicate dishes. I don't want to have one place setting per person, although some people do that and it works out fine for them. But for me, no, I want plenty. I want to be able to fill up my dishwasher and still have dishes to use. So that's what's important to me. Things like rubber spatulas. Yeah, I could deal with just one, but I want multiples. And the list can go on, right? I want more than one pair of sneakers. I want more than one pair of jeans, that type of thing. But how many do you really need of any of those things? So this is not a go eliminate all of your duplicates today. As you go through life, it's sort of like thinking about the duplicates when you realize they have them, and maybe, get rid of a few. An example I will give you here is towels. I used to have a big stack of bath towels in our closet in the bathroom, plus the ones that we were using daily. Now, for one, there's only 2 of us now living in this house. Occasionally, someone else might sleep over. We might have a guest. So maybe at the most, there's 4 of us here. How many towels do I really need? Now, we tend to use the same towels over and over and over again. So I got rid of a bunch of them. I put 2 extra towels in our guest room. So they sit on the dresser. So if we have someone sleep over and they want to go take a shower, they can grab their towel, go take a shower. But currently in our bathroom, there are the towels hanging up that we use, and there are no more extra towels in the closet because I don't need them there. When I feel we need to wash our towels, I take them down, we wash them, we dry them, and we bring them right back and hang them up. There's no need to fold towels and put them away. It just simplifies everything. I have more space in my closet in the bathroom, so it's not jam-packed with stuff, which makes finding things easier. And again, why keep more? So some of the extras we I donated a couple of the nicer ones. Some of the ones that were a little on the junky side, I put in our rag bin, so we use them, to wash the car or clean up a spill. They get used or they get donated, but they're not taking up space in my closet. And the last example I'm going to give for this is bed sheets. Now, I do technically have two sets of sheets for my bed. We have a cool weather set and a warm weather set because I like flannel sheets in the winter. But at any given time, I'm really only using one set. So when it's time to wash sheets, I take them off, we wash them, dry them, put them right back on the bed. No folding sheets, no storing sheets. Now, that works for us in this stage of our lives. But if you have little kids, then that probably doesn't work for you, because if you have little kids, you probably do want to have a couple extra sets of sheets for at least their beds, if not your own, because accidents happen, wake up in the middle of the night, sheets have to be changed. You don't want to have to wash sheets in the middle of the night. You want a clean set to be able to just pop right on, worry about the dirty sheets in the morning, whatever. So again, these things change depending on your lifestyle or just your time of life. So it's very individual, which is why I say don't get rid of duplicates, but evaluate your duplicates. Tip number 4 is a purgatory bin or a time will tell bin or a quarantine bin or a wait and see bin. Whatever you want to call it, it takes some of the pressure off when it comes to getting rid of things. Now, we all have that I might need it later mentality, so we hate to get rid of stuff just in case. Therefore, having a bin where you can sort of put things in timeout, experience your house, your life, everything with it gone, so you get to see like, how does it feel when these things aren't here in our house. But you have that safety net of, if you get rid of something that, I didn't realize, like I forgot all about the fact that I use that every time I do this, then it's sitting there waiting. Now, you don't want to overdo it and put everything in this bin. You do have to, use it judiciously. Some things you just have to be hard and strong. Get rid of it. We don't use it. We don't need it. But there are those things that are a little scary. So what I recommend is to put them in a big or fairly large, as big as it takes, I guess, to hold several things, cardboard box. Tape it closed, put a date on it, maybe put a date in your phone saying like 3 months, 6 months, whatever time amount feels comfortable to you. And if you haven't gone looking for something, when that time comes around, just pick up the box and go donate it. Don't go through it to reevaluate, because you might be like, I'm going to keep this just in case for like another 6 months. Just let it go. You'll forget what's in the box. It won't even matter. If you haven't gone looking for it, then you clearly don't need it or even want it. So let it go. And number 5 is to really take a look at your house and make a list of the hot spots, the places that really drive you crazy, so that you can prioritize your decluttering effort to those places. Now, this may sound like a no-brainer, but a lot of times when we jump into decluttering, we either maybe watch a video and someone tells us what place they think is the best place to start, or we might jump in. Sometimes people jump into the hard things. They jump into the basement or their attic where they have stuff stored that was their parents or grandparents, and that's not usually the best place to start in my mind. You want to start somewhere simple and somewhere that you're going to notice it every single day. Now, you have probably at some point heard of the 20-80 principle, where essentially everything, it seems, in the world can be broken down to like 20 and 80%. So in this case, 20% of our areas cause us 80% of that stress that we get from our space. If you can identify the spaces that make up that 20% and fix those, then 80% of your stress caused by your space goes away. So what are those spaces, those 20% that drive you crazy? In my house, it's flat surfaces, right? There is a little desk that we have in our foyer. So when people people. It's me and my husband. I can't really blame other people. But you know, when those people come into my house with the mail and they're opening it up and they throw stuff down there that needs to be addressed, like taken care of, either bills that need to be paid or something that just, you know, we need to look into something or do something, it just piles up there on top of my desk. And it's just a little desk. It's not really a sit down and do your paperwork desk. It's just a cute little hold all of your office stuff desk. But it annoys me when things build up there. So I did clear out, it has a drawer. I did clear that out with hopes that at least like bills and things like that have a home inside it. But there are still times that there are little things that build up. So I do have to come back and sort of clear that off routinely. But by getting rid of a bunch of the stuff that we didn't need that was in the drawer, organizing it a little bit, it's made it much better. One of the second hot spots in our house is our kitchen. Call it an island, even though it's sort of up against a wall. It's an island slash workstation. But because it's not the main countertops, it's an easy place to set something and feel like it's sort of out of the way, even though it's really not. It's right there right in the way. But it's easy to just set stuff down there. So that space, I've cleaned it off. There's not a lot of stuff that sits there routinely, but it is a place that I have to come back and organize quite a bit. And one of the things I did do though is the drawer right below it. So the top drawer in that unit is our junk drawer, which again is often hot spot number 3 for a lot of people. But I cleaned out the junk drawer to make it easier to put things in the junk drawer, things that really kind of belong there. They're not junk. It's like batteries and charger cables, a lighter for candles, things like that. There's a space for that. So instead of that stuff just getting plopped down on the counter, it's a little bit easier to put away. Again, it's a hot spot, so you're always going to have to address it. But if you can get through the bulk of things, it makes maintaining it a little bit easier. Thank you for sticking around. As I promised you in the beginning of the video, I do have a few more tips for you. So if you're enjoying this video, click the like button while I move on. Tip number 6, simplify your wardrobe. Now I know most people are going to come right back with this saying, but they love the variety. They love to wear different things, or they feel like their wardrobe isn't that big to begin with. But for most of us, it really is a good place to start because there's a lot of decision fatigue that comes about with trying to figure out what to wear every day. Now, to me, in a way, I think that just sounds silly. It's getting dressed. How much thought do you really have to put into it? But we do put a surprising amount of effort into what we wear, even if it's just trying to pull out things that are comfortable, things that fit us well. Even if you're not dressing up to go into the office, even if you're just, you know, putting on fairly casual clothes every day, there's still a thought process. And we can get really frustrated when we have a lot of clothes in our closet that either don't fit us, that aren't the right color, they're for the right season, they don't mix and match well. It can just get frustrating. And again, it sounds silly to think of our wardrobe as being such a stress inducer, but it really is. I've played around with this idea of a capsule wardrobe. I have not done I've not done as well as I would like to. So this is something that I want to continue to play around with. I was inspired with the whole concept of a capsule wardrobe from Courtney Carver, who wrote a book called Project 333. And for her definition of a capsule wardrobe is for 3 months, so a season, you use 33 items of clothes. Now, 33, where did that number come from? Probably just so that the number made sense and it was 333. It probably could have been Project 336. I don't know, 340, whatever number you want. The idea being that you pick out clothes that are, you wear them all the time, you feel good in them, they mix and match fairly well. And then you just put everything else aside so that you're just living with that small wardrobe, and it decreases a lot of stress. Now, she, I think, is pretty severe with this because in her 33 items, she counts shoes. I mean, one pair is one item. She counts accessories, so anything that other than like her wedding ring, or like I think she wears a pair of earrings like the same earrings every day. So if it's something, a necklace, earrings, a ring that you wear every single day, then she doesn't count that. But if you have a scarf or like a fancy necklace that you want to wear, she counts that, which that seemed excessive to me. And she counts outerwear, so she counts jackets. I don't know as if that's really necessary, but again, you can personalize it to whatever you want. The only thing she doesn't count is any underwear, pajamas, or workout clothes, assuming that those workout clothes only work out. If you're actually wearing them throughout the day, then they count as real clothes and you have to count them. Again, this is just an inspiration. You don't have to follow this. I find the easiest way to do it is not to worry about a number, reaching a certain number, but to play around as if you are packing your clothes. So this is the example I would give you. Pretend you are having some huge amount of work being done at your house, construction work. So you're like, I'm not even going to live here. I'm going to go stay at a hotel for 2 to 3 months. I'm still going to carry on with my life, but a hotel is pretty small. I don't have a lot of space. I have to take just a minimal amount of things. Now look through your wardrobe and imagine, what would you pack? What would you take? If you work in an office, you're still going to be working through that time. So maybe it's best to sort of, I don't know, dress down a little bit at the office and maybe dress up your casual clothes so that you can mix and match between work and casual wear a little bit more. Maybe you have to like reality check yourself that you don't need an evening gown for the next 3 months. So we're going to leave that behind. We're going to leave maybe behind our high heeled shoes that we wear once a season, if ever. Just pare it down to the things that you would normally want to wear all the time, the things that you feel good in, the things that mix and match well. And there is your capsule wardrobe. Tip number 7 is to use the 1 year rule. Now, 1 year gets you through every season. It most likely will get you through just about anything that's going to happen to you. So if you have things that you haven't used in a year, you're probably safe to get rid of it. Now, I know, of course, you're going to think in your mind of some exception, and there will be exceptions. So, I'm not saying get rid of everything that you haven't used in a year, but it's a pretty good hard and fast rule to help you decide if it's okay to get rid of something. If you have clothes you haven't worn in a year, it's probably safe to get rid of it. If you have kitchen appliances that you haven't used in a year, do you really need it? And if you do decide, like maybe it's something like a warming tray, right? And you're like, I use it occasionally on Thanksgiving, but maybe this year I didn't host Thanksgiving, but I might want it next year. So you decide, all right, you're going to keep that even though you haven't used it in a year. At least make sure it is not in your kitchen taking up prime real estate. Make sure it's in a closet or in the basement or the garage or somewhere where you can go get it if you need it, but you don't have to see it every day. I have one more tip for you, but before I mention that one, I just wanted to let you know I have more information on all of these tips in my blog post on the subject. So I will put a link to that down in the description box. Go check it out to learn more to help you on your decluttering journey. And last but not least, tip number 8 is to experiment with a no buy period. Now, there are several ways to do this. You can keep it pretty simple. You can make it pretty severe, whatever works for you. But a no buy period just means that for a certain amount of time, you're agreeing to not buy anything new. So you're going to stop bringing stuff into your house while you maybe use up some stuff that you have. Now, the nice thing about this is it also saves you money, right? Because a lot of times we buy things, and if you just stopped and waited, you probably would lose interest and not buy it. So I'm not saying don't buy the things that you know you need. You're still going to pay your bills. You're still going to put gas in your car. You're still going to buy groceries. But you can like tweak that a little bit, right? So you could say, I'm going to do a no buy for 2 months. That's a pretty big ask. Let's go smaller than that. Let's say 1 month. A no buy for 1 month, meaning that you'll buy your necessities, you'll buy your groceries. But if you decide, hey, look at this, shoes are on sale today, you're not going to buy a new pair of shoes because you have shoes. You don't really need shoes. You can put it on a little note if you want to keep track. Oh yeah, look, I would have bought these shoes, but I'm not going to. And then in a month, you could think, do I want to still buy a new pair of shoes? Chances are, no. So you can do something simple like that. Just a no buy, nothing that's not a need, no wants bought in that time period. Another thing you can do is simply do a no buy by category. So this last year, I made myself sort of a New Year's resolution, I guess, to not buy a handful of things that I tend to buy that I don't need. Examples: candles. I have a ton of candles, and I have wicks and wax to make my own candles. I don't really need to buy candles, at least for a while. So I made myself a rule: no candles in 2023. I did break that once I got close to December because I realized I didn't have any nice Christmas scented candles. And then at the end of December, some candles went on sale. So I bought a few candles for 2024. But for the most part, all year long, I did not buy candles. I also did a no buy for soap because I am just, I don't know, I have a thing for soap. I go to any sort of vendor fair, if there's someone set up selling goat's milk soap or whatever kind of soap they have. I smell the soaps, I fall in love with them. I'm like, well, it's something we'll use, right? And then I buy them. So in my bathroom, and I still, after a year of not buying soap, I still have a ton of soap in my bathroom. So I think 2024 will be another no buying of soap year. Tea, coffee, things like that, where we tend to be like, oh, that flavor sounds good, I should try that. And then you end up with 20 different boxes. Stop it. Give yourself a break. Use up what you have. Don't buy any more. Books is another one. I always fail at this one, but if you have a pile of books that you own that you have not read yet, maybe make yourself a rule that you're not going to buy books until you've read, like 5 of the ones you have. Something. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. You can make your own rules. There are so many other examples of this. One could even just be groceries. I see people do this a lot where they're going to try to eat out of their freezer or their pantry. Now you can do that saying, I'm not going to buy any new groceries until we've eaten like half of what's in the freezer. That's fine, but you're probably going to have some really weird meals doing it that way. What I have done in the past, and am getting ready to start now because I want to clear out my pantry and my freezer, is just agreeing in my head that every meal I make has to use something from the pantry or the freezer. Now, so I might still have to go to the grocery store and buy 2 ingredients, but I'm using up at least 1 or 2 ingredients that I have already. So, like I said, for a few more ideas or more information about these ideas, visit my blog post. I will link that down in the description box. But I'm also going to share some links for just no benefit to me, just some pages, either blogs, podcasts, YouTube channels of other people doing a lot of declutterizing. I think that should be a word. Decluttering or minimizing, whatever they're doing, whatever. I'm going to put some links down in the description box of other things that I think you will like that will inspire you to declutter, because you don't have to be a minimalist to benefit from letting things go. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care, my friends.